Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all my videos and subscribing to the channel, and I really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up, or subscribe if you haven't already. And as I promised on my previous video, I'm going to really start kind of blasting out more content now, and I used to always do these recap videos, but it's been a few weeks. I had told you I kind of moved into a new spot. And so I didn't have my studio, so the videos were kind of like only once a week for a little bit, but that's not going to be the case anymore. But yeah, if you don't watch these review videos, I kind of just go through the whole card from a technical and betting perspective and kind of talk about what I was thinking before each fight and what I was thinking after, and just kind of some observations and things like that. Let me pull up the card actually, but before I get into a really good night, all my bets hit except Cormier, and I had two underdog hits. Sandhagen hit, and then Casey Kenny hit, and Costa hit as well. So I'll just get through each one. So it was a good night, like a good way to end, and I'm glad we have 2 weeks off just to kind of take a little time. I've been taping my ass off lately. Glad to get like a mental break. Gonna like kind of relax the next couple days. It'll be nice, but let's go through it, and I'll be sending out a lot of videos the next week. Sabina Mazo versus Shayna Dobson. I honestly was kind of leaning Dobson before this fight. Like I would have never bet it though. These fights are kind of like these like lower level striking oriented women's fights where you think it's going to be a striking fight. They're just so unpredictable. Like, you don't know if someone's going to just start grappling. It also kind of reminds me of, like, last week. What was it? Granger versus Goldie. It's like, the fights just never really play out to how I think they're going to go. And I just never bet those type of fights. Like, lower level women's MMA fights, it's just, they're kind of weird. But Mazo looked good, and it was good for her to close the distance and clinch up and really just kind of take away the boxing of Dobson by just kind of staying in close range and going into the clinch. But she looked good, so good one for her. Next fight, Kang Davis. I ended up not playing this fight. That was a close fight. That ref's a fucking moron. Like standing someone up in side control or wherever he was, that was just terrible. But I thought it was a close fight. Like I thought Kang should have probably won 2-1. I think that's what I leaned, but it was a back and forth scrap, and honestly think that's about a coin flip of a fight. So people who played Davis plus 170 were probably on the right side and just kind of got a little unlucky. But yeah, that's kind of all I thought. Cypher's Escobar. I ended up playing an untracked play, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me, because some of my untracked plays, I don't always track all my plays, because sometimes I just see some lines maybe like during the card, and you actually can't post tracked plays when the card starts, so that's a reason. And sometimes I just I try to tip more. I'll be a little more, I have more of a risk tolerance with my untracked plays. Like I'm willing to throw more value out there because I like having a lot of picks throughout the year, but I don't always like to track that. But so I kind of will throw my untracked plays on Twitter, and I actually played Cypher's point handicap and ended up hitting. It was like a semi-competitive fight. I thought Cypher's won all 3 rounds in my opinion. Escobar would just kind of get a double leg here and there, and other than that, Cypher's is kind of just like the better striker in my opinion. It was hilarious how Joe Rogan at the end was like, "I know you get really nervous, so I don't want to make you nervous." During interviews, and the hilarious part is I feel like him saying that would just make her more nervous. I mean, I feel like he had the right intentions, but I don't think he executed that correctly. Next fight, Casey Kenny, my fucking boy Casey Kenny, defeats Manny Bermudez. So the fight went really similar to how I expected, kind of in my preview video. Like I talked about, I also played an untracked, but I didn't tweet this one out. I also went not Bermudez inside the distance at minus 130. I hit that too because people thinking he was just going to sub Kenny, and it was clear, like, he had like a bit of a guillotine attempt in round 3, but that really wasn't close, and he just got a heavy top position because Kenny was super tired because he was dealing with a 164-pound man. And but yeah, like, people just thinking he was going to submit Kenny. Like, Kenny's a super accomplished grappler, and I was telling people before, I thought Kenny had just as good of a chance to sub him, Bermudez, and he almost did, but Kenny was definitely the much more superior grappler and fighter, in my opinion, and he was pretty much dominating until the end. With like a minute left in round 2, he started getting really tired, and I guess I didn't think the weight would matter as much for Bermudez, because Bermudez doesn't always play a positional game, but he played more of a positional game here and kind of tired Kenny out. But Kenny won 2-1 in my opinion, like clear 2-1. And Bermudez hung tough though, like he's still like fine, but the California State Athletic Commission released their weights, what they weighed in today. And Bermudez weighed 164 in the cage, and Kenny weighed 143 apparently. So there's a 21-pound weight advantage, and Kenny still won. So that, like, Kenny's the way more skilled grappler. Bermudez just kind of like started wearing on him and took a round late because of that. But I'm pumped by the pick because plus 150. I was just happy that he ended up cashing for me. He's my fucking boy, man. I played him versus Ray Borg. I actually did a video. You can look on this YouTube channel for that video. I played him as a dog, like plus 300 or some shit versus Ray Borg. Close fight. Ray Borg could have won that, but he clearly justified a play at that line. And then he came through here in just a tough situation. Like his UFC debut was against Ray Borg on 5 days' notice, and Ray Borg came in overweight. He accepted the fight and won. And then Bermudez essentially created his own weight class at 140, which is complete bullshit in my opinion. And Kenny still accepted the fight and just took the first 2 rounds by just being more skilled. So that's like 2 tough fights for your first 2 fights. Like Ray Borg's a tough grappler, and Bermudez had a big size advantage, but man, pump Kenny cashed. Close Giagos. This fight literally went exactly how I thought. I thought Giagos was going to win round 1, and it was just a matter of when he gassed, and he ended up gassing, and Close kind of took over, so not much to say there. Next fight, Sandhagen to Sunsao. As you guys know, I played Sandhagen. This was my second tracked play of the night besides Kenny. I played him 4.5 units. If you guys know me, that's a huge play for me. And a lot of people who I just correspond with on MMA seem to not really like that play. And so I wasn't like as vocal about it because I just didn't feel like arguing, to be honest. But I went heavy on Sandhagen, and I got him at his better line too, under minus 200. Like, kind of, a few days ago, whenever it was a closer line to fight. Yeah, the fight pretty much went as I expected. He more volume on the feet, longer, lots of kicks, strike diversity, and I also thought Sunsao, he kind of grappled in the frequency that I expected, like a takedown here and there, and I didn't think that would be enough to win him a grappling-based decision, and Sandhagen had underrated grappling, and I talked about how I thought he was like a pretty decent wrestler to where he'd be okay, and I liked his get-up, so that one cashed, and he looked good. Like, Sandhagen's very, very good. I'm interested to see how he does going forward. Next fight, this was the only fight I didn't even tape on the card. I didn't even know what Worthy looked like. I just assumed, because the line was minus 1,000, that Smith would win, and it was like a late replacement, but I've actually always kind of thought Smith was extremely overrated. Like, the guy lost to John Gunther, and I was hoping that I honestly wanted him to win tonight, like, in a devastating fashion, because I wanted him to be like minus 300 against a guy like Scott Holtzman, who I would have picked over him. So I think that's an unfortunate result considering for like future investment, because I wanted to fade that guy at some point because I feel like he was going to be like a ridiculous line against someone who is better than him. But yeah, like Cool knockout by Worthy. I literally didn't even know what he looked like before that fight. That's very rare for me. I usually tape every fight, but I just kind of like didn't think I'd waste my time on that one. But if people ended up playing Worthy, good job, man. Yeah, but I would have never played Devontae Smith at -1,000. Brunson, Hainish. Brunson looked good, man. He fought smart, and that was kind of the thing with him. I thought if he fought smart that he was the better wrestler. I talked about that. And I feel like just Hainish was being... I played Hainish in his last 2 fights. He's good for like a grappling, stifling type of game against like jiu-jitsu guys because he's got good pace and he can kind of like reverse and get top position and kind of get his get-up game going. But I didn't know how he would look versus a guy like Brunson. I didn't see enough of his game, like in kind of just like a kickboxing match and defending a more athletic wrestler. And Brunson pretty much won. Like, I mean, he won round 2 and round 3. In round 1, he did well there, except kind of that random bum rush head kick by Hainish. So Brunson won like 13 minutes of the fight. He looked really good. I didn't play that, but I didn't understand playing Hainish at -150. It was kind of weird. But Brunson looked good. He fought smart, and that was kind of the X factor. If I would have trusted him to come out and fight like a game plan like that, I probably would have played him. But I thought whenever you see a guy do what he did to Robert Whittaker a few years ago and just tried to knock his head off early and gas himself out, I just can't play a guy like that. Youssef Benitez. I didn't play this fight. I thought about playing Benitez as a dog, and he was measuring up Youssef with that straight left early, and then Youssef's good in the pocket. He caught Shaman Rice in the pocket too, and he kind of just KO'd Benitez. I thought Benitez looked good to that point, honestly. That looked like it was about to be a firefight. I think it's good. Like, people might call me pessimistic, but I think it's good to be a pessimist with like rising prospects, because sometimes when you just have to consistently question them, and I still do want to see, like, I'm at a stage with Youssef where I just don't really feel like playing his fights at all. Like, I don't feel like playing Benitez as a dog in this situation, or I don't feel like playing Youssef as like a -300 guy. Just because I don't really know where he's at. But I know he's like obviously pretty good. But I still don't think he's proven enough to be hitting his -300 lines. Like, he might prove to be that good, but still, like, I don't know yet. And it's okay to be a pessimist. Like, if they end up proving something to you, then give them credit. But I still want to see him against better competition and better featherweights and kind of see how he does. I'm not going to like crown him being great yet, but he might get there. Costa Romero. I was on Costa as a dog. Fight went very similar to how I expected, except Romero, the action of Costa did open up volume of Romero that we usually don't see. But honestly, I think let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know people love Romero, so like I think people are going to be seeing with like a fanboy type of bias with him. But I also know I was on Costa, so I might be biased as well. But I thought he won 2-1. Like, I thought he won round 1 and round 2 pretty clear. I thought Romero had good success at the end of round 2, but the like 3.5 minutes that Costa kind of had before that, like he was teeing off against the cage to the body and to the head. I thought Costa won the first like 3.5 minutes of round 2, and I didn't think Romero did enough in the last minute and a half to take that round. Like, I thought Costa was up 2-0 and Romero won round 3. So that was my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, but I don't think it would have been a robbery if Romero won, but I don't think it was a robbery at all that Costa won. Like, I scored it for him and I thought he won. What were the volume numbers? I was on 3 units Costa at plus 150. Romero honestly outperformed my expectations, because that was the Costa I expected that came out tonight. Like, I think people were sleeping on him a bit, and Romero at 42, that guy's a fucking freak. I don't understand how he's still how he's like that durable at that age. He's so athletic. The striking numbers are really close. So 120 to 120. Yeah, so it's like, I don't get why anyone would call that a robbery. It was just a really close fight. That's all it was. That's pretty much all I see. And like, also like Costa was the one moving forward for round one and round two as well. So like the fact that the strikes were about even and he was the one moving forward, I think that's totally justifiable to give him the decision. But I wouldn't have been like upset if Romero got it either. I wouldn't have thought it was like a bad decision. But I still like I don't think it was a bad decision either way. But yeah, I'm pumped Costa cashed out. I honestly thought he was gonna not have that hard of a time. I thought he was gonna kind of like have a little bit more of an easy path, but it is what it is. We cashed out. Diaz Pettis. I really thought this was game plan dependent, and if like Diaz, I talked about Diaz doesn't always pressure out of the gate, and he actually talked about it in his post-fight interview. But I live bet him after round one at like minus 220. Because he was clearly up 1-0, and I didn't think Pettis could keep up with that pace. He came out of the gate, and if I would have known he would do that, I would have actually thought he was a good play. And because sometimes he just won't pressure right away, but he had talked about how he didn't pressure in previous 5-round fights because he you don't want to come out too hot. Like he had talked about that in his post-fight interview, so it was like a good strategy. He was talking about how since this was a 3-rounder, he decided to start off very fast, which was great by his team because that pace kind of just broke Pettis. So Diaz looked good. If people who played him, it was good. I struggle playing fights like this where it's game plan dependent because you don't know if they're gonna follow. Like at least like with Sandhagen, you know how he's gonna fight. He's just gonna like volume, kicks. He's gonna throw like 6 significant strikes attempted. If he's standing, he's gonna try to keep it standing. You know that's just how he fights every time. We're like Diaz, he'll pressure, but he also like if you go look at fights, like I research this fight a lot. There's pockets of rounds where he doesn't always pressure, so that's what was kind of worrisome for me. Last fight, this is the only bet that I missed. I was on Cormier over Stipe, and Cormier, I thought he was up. It's funny, it was actually all 3 judges, I just looked this up on Twitter, all 3 judges gave DC the first 2 rounds, and then the third round, 2 out of the 3 judges gave it to Stipe. And then Stipe was obviously going to win round 4, so it was going to come down to round 5 had Miocic not finished him. But I thought Cormier was up 3-0, but I didn't think I thought you could make an argument Stipe kind of maybe won one of those rounds, but let me look at the numbers there. But I thought DC looked good. And he outlanded Miocic 230 to 130. So, like, he looked good, but he kind of just fought dumb. It's weird. I didn't think a guy like that would lose on Fight IQ. That's weird that Cormier didn't get round 3. He outstruck Miocic 70 to 40 in round 3. And I didn't think Miocic landed anything significant enough to swing that strike volume total. Cormier outstruck him, everyone. Like, round 1 was a dominant round for Cormier. Outstruck him 71 to 9. Looked good. He started wrestling, and I think Cormier should have wrestled more, man. I felt like I had a good read here. It was just, I thought Cormier was kind of going to do what he did, but Miocic I thought he'd push a pace, and I thought Miocic would just kind of wilt, but he didn't. He stayed really tough, and I think that's where I got it wrong. Miocic just stayed tough, made an adjustment, went to the body of Cormier, and then just kind of put him away. So, great adjustment by Miocic. I really like Stipe, so the one bet that I lose, I'm glad it's this one because I'm a big fan of Stipe. I think he's a good dude. But wasn't mad at the DC pick. It's the only one I missed, and the fight was going our way for a while, and then Stipe just kind of stayed more durable than I thought he could. and just gutted the win out. So good come from behind victory for Stipe. But that's all I got. And if you guys want any, since I have like a week or two till the next card, if you guys want any, just any videos on any topics of discussion that you want, just comment below and I can do a video on that. It can be anything. It can be about like who's my favorite fighter, who's the best takedown guys that I rate in the UFC. It could be just whatever you want. Just let me know and comment below, and I'll definitely make some kind of just like random videos for you. So thanks so much, guys. Bye.